presents A Ghost in the Magazine. I'm Allie,
I'm Gabe.
And I'm Jay.
and this week's film is Gremlins, on the topic of movies that scared us as a kid, and this was my contribution.
That's right. We're doing a Christmas film in July.
It's
forgot.
debatably a
I
Christmas
forgot it.
film.
I forgot it was it's kind of a Christmas film. When I started it and I saw the snow and stuff, like the holiday music, I'm like, oh, we're watching this at the wrong time.
I definitely watched it at a Halloween sleepover, and everyone else had fallen asleep, so it was just me watching this shit show. All right, so I'm going to run through a quick synopsis of the movie and then let you boys talk. So, mid 80s Americana, eccentric inventor father buys a Christmas present for his son. This terrible, fluffy little thing he gets out of some store in Chinatown that they named Gizmo. This thing has 3 rules: don't put it in sunlight, don't give it water, and don't feed it after midnight. Within 25 minutes, our main character has managed to break 2 of these rules.
I have issues with all 3 of those rules.
They're basically the antithesis to life itself.
Yeah, but also, like, don't feed it after midnight. Every time is after midnight.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, okay, does it know which time zone it's in?
Yeah, because this thing is Asian.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so with water, this thing just asexually reproduces into about 5 different copies of itself. So now stuck with 6. They're called Mogwai, but we just call them little gizmos. These ones are more mischievous than the first. The biggest one, sporting a sick mohawk, therefore named Stripe, manages not only to string up the family dog, but also chew through the wire of our main character's clock, tricking him into feeding them after midnight. Tiny fluffballs morph into terrifying green gremlins who escape into a YMCA, making thousands of them after they jump into the pool. They wreak havoc on the town, racking up quite the body count before they decide to catch a midnight showing of Snow White before the spunky teenagers we're following literally blow up the fucking theater, leaving only Stripe remaining. Through amazing feats of puppeteering, this gremlin really gives it his all to murder this kid using a mini crossbow, an actual chainsaw, and a fucking gun. Finally, this nightmare is defeated by a combination of water and daylight. Genuinely one of the most horrifying death scenes in cinematic history. And Gizmo, the remaining one, is returned to Confucius, who drops some sick burns before he leaves.
I want to say that's racist.
This whole movie is very racist.
Yeah, it's so bad.
There's this underlying plot line, I guess, of the integrity of American-made versus foreign-made production, even though consistently throughout the film, the American-made products are also really shit. But they present this sort of like, oh, it's just the Gremlins' fault, obviously.
As a foreigner, I find that deeply offensive. And Mr. Chris Columbus, my lawyers, will be in touch.
It's definitely a product of its time. You can smell the 80s on this movie.
Yeah.
Our main character works at a bank, but he's also in high school, and his girlfriend works at a bar.
And a bank.
And the bank. Oh,
yeah.
of course. There's quintessential black science guy who gets killed first, and then our female Miss Scrooge, who throughout the whole thing is like threatening to murder this dog and just being generally awful to the people in this town. And when she dies in the film, I laughed so hard for so long.
She went flying out that window.
She had one of those stair elevator situations, the chair that's like connected to the railing of the stairs, and the gremlins get into it and it malfunctions and just shoots her out the upper window. It's the best scene in the film.
To be fair, it actually looks like it'd be fun, like if it was safe to go that fast and then it slows down at the end, but not the flying out the window part.
Not to poke more holes in the logic of this film, but the first time we see this lady, she's like stomping through the streets, walking in front of cars. She could walk up some stairs. She's old, but not that old. We also have some very inept cops drinking on the job.
Because this is a Spielberg film in the 80s, there's no such thing as kid-friendly.
Absolutely not.
Spielberg was a producer on this film, and you can smell his influence on it, because whenever the phone gets cut, one of the gremlins goes phone home.
Yes, I did notice that.
And once again, we have a small, weird creature being separated from its new companion that's human.
There's also, towards the end, when he's in the claw machine, there's like a little ET figure in the...
I was too distracted by the terrifyingly large bug bunnies that were everywhere. I forgot how horrifying toys in like the 70s and the 80s were.
So yeah, weird racist subplot.
Weird racist subplot, useless father, a weird amount of economic insecurity in this town, which doesn't really get resolved or brought up as a plot device. They just sort of point out like everyone's poor, which is
Yeah,
really strange because
it
the
is.
first scene is this father buying $200 worth of pets.
It seems like he's like, oh, I'm an inventor and this and that. And you would think that he has a lot of money, but then obviously you see quickly his inventions don't really work. I do like that throughout the movie, you see all these different inventions that the mom is using. And she's so supportive because she's trying.
Absolutely.
It doesn't work.
The long-suffering mother of this family. She really tries.
You know what? It was the 80s. She bet on the horse that wasn't winning, and she was just dealing with that.
I gotta say, he had good ideas. It was just executed poorly.
You remember in iCarly, Spencer would always make statues that had nothing to do with fire, and they would always catch on fire.
Yes.
That was sort of the vibe of it. It was very funny. I almost expected an invention exploding to be the thing that like saves the day at the end, but he doesn't come in until everything's fixed.
Instead, it's him giving a foreigner a inefficient American-made thing
Smokeless ashtray, which doesn't make any sense.
and doesn't work.
There was some really interesting foreshadowing, all pretty much done on the televisions that the characters owned. They would be watching some old film that would mention something that would soon after happen in the main film, which I thought was cool, but they overused it a little.
It's a good kind of telling, but not doing it like, oh, we're telling you what's happening in the film. It's here's a reference to an old film that just kind of works out.
I don't know how many there are, but I know there's 2 of them. I don't know what they were watching, but there was an egg sack opening up, and then it's just kind of the same thing with the gremlins hatching out of their cocoons or whatever you want to call them.
I think that was Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and then it was a Cary Grant film.
The other one I noticed was Gizmo with the car. Vroom, vroom.
Gizmo was so cute. I do think it's very important that you both know that the dog actor in this film, his real name was Mushroom. That's just amazing.
I'm sure you love that.
And Gizmo was really cute. He terrified me as a kid, but on second watch, he was adorable.
The gremlins in their furry stage, they're creepy. I don't like them. I don't like the fact that they can talk. I don't like that.
Sing along to the piano.
Yeah, I mean, that's not as terrifying, but like...
Okay, but when he came out of the box and it was just his little paws first, that was so cute. It did little fluff of paws.
You could tell that they were like, okay, we're really proud of this one animatronic lizard thing we have. Let's show Jim Henson how to do it.
This reptile thing.
Oh, they're so disgusting looking. And the 10-minute montage of them just wrecking the bar. They must have had so much fun with that one.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like, it went on too long, but they had fun with it.
Did you see the gremlin in the bar that was on the arm of Stripe?
Oh,
wearing,
yeah,
like,
with the
a
earring,
wig and
the
lipstick.
Stripe got a side bitch.
Yeah, what is with them sexualizing gremlins?
I don't know. It's weird. I don't like when he dipped his hand inside the fountain to, multiply or whatever, and like his back starts bubbling. Ugh.
That whole scene where he just essentially melts and then jumps out and it's like his little rat skeleton.
Yeah.
I hated it. Hated it all. Can I bring up just the love interest? The reason why Kate hates Christmas so much? Her dad got stuck in the chimney! Santa Claus outfit! What the fuck, bro?
And also, this is supposed to be a kid's film in the 80s. Like,
is it actually supposed to be a kid's film?
I mean,
I watched it as a kid.
It's really framed that way, and then like at the end, she's like, "That's when I realized that Santa's not real."
Oh shit, yeah. And that part happens and then it never gets brought up again. It feels like something the actress just really insisted on because she wanted more to do with her character. And they were like, fine, you get one monologue, that's it.
Get a dead dad.
That was just rough as hell. That's the final thing in my notes because it was so weird. Also, gremlin with gun, question mark?
I did like the scene with the chainsaw. First of all, how did that bat that he was holding not get cut in half sooner?
It's American made, baby.
Of course, that's the answer.
Yeah.
But I like when they turned the lights on, and so he like freaked out and fell back, and then the chainsaw kind of dragged him around the store.
There's a ton of little inconsistencies in this movie. Like the gremlin cuts the cop car's brakes, and then 2 seconds later, the brake lights on the car turn on. Like you watch them drive away, and they use the brakes, and they're fine.
Can we talk about how weird the narration style is in this? The dad isn't in the film for the majority of it, but he's the one that's telling the whole story.
Yeah, he's telling it as if he was there. Like he experienced it. It would make more sense coming from the son.
Although, is that good characterization? Like, this guy is quite clearly like a con man.
Yeah, I was gonna point that out. He has a sales pitch for everybody he meets. I would argue that most of the scenes that do include the father are really not
Genuine.
quintessential to the film. Like, they don't
Mhm.
really bring anything to the narrative. He's just gone. And like,
No.
it's the 80s. The dad being gone would have just been believable on its own. They didn't need to give him an excuse to be gone on Christmas Eve.
Right. They introduced him. He had his role in the beginning of the movie. We knew that he made inventions that just didn't work. That was enough. If he didn't show up in the movie at all, after that, I wouldn't have cared.
He doesn't
But
even
then-
participate in the final fight.
Just
No, he-
shows up like, oh my god, look at this thing dying right now.
And also, he's like a red-blooded American man in the 80s. It like you saw the way the cops treated the kid. They didn't believe him. They like took the piss out of him. Are you really going to expect the dad to do anything different?
I don't have an answer. It definitely feels like writer bias, or they hired this actor that they just wanted to use more. The mother of the family, God bless her, the scene where she is hearing noise in the house and she like slowly picks up the knife and sulks around the house. I still do that to this day if I
Yeah.
think someone is in my house.
Yeah.
No one ever is in my house, but I do exactly what she did.
Yeah, I'll do the same
Agree.
thing. I'll walk around very quietly and I'll like slow my breathing so I can like hear very well. I tense up, like I'm ready to swing on someone.
She's very quickly okay with murdering these little creatures.
She was on a killing streak, bro. She can destroy these things.
Her KDO is like 4 till 1.
And I gotta give her props for her survival instinct, like kicked in pretty hard. She didn't even have to think about it. She saw the gremlin messing around with the mixer, and
Mhm.
she's like, oh, I'm gonna turn that thing on. Boom, turns it on.
But here's the thing, she's just seen that this is a creature, and she knows that there's a weird creature in the house. Why does she assume it's evil and
Well,
tend to kill it immediately?
I mean, did you
Hey,
look at it?
yeah, I'm
Have you
like-
seen this thing?
One good look at it, and it's like, yeah, that thing is dangerous. That thing is evil.
I would have punted that thing
No.
so fast.
I would not have felt bad.
I genuinely think the scene where the gremlin attacks the mom is the one that scarred me for life. He's got her in like a chokehold with the Christmas lights or something. It's awful. That's after she microwaves one of his friends, which was also super
yeah,
gross.
that one was crazy.
I really wanted the mom to like wipe the blood away as soon as the dude was microwaved and go, Arrivederci.
The special effects were great. The puppeteering was wonderful. All the little scenes where they're running about, super, super cool. Super great feats of puppeteering. Terrifying fuckers.
Where do we rate this on the scary scale?
Like 1 being not scary, 10 being the most scary.
I'll give it a 5. And the only reason I'm giving it a 5 is because it's more of just the visuals that are scary, like the gremlins itself. The killing isn't scary. Can I change that? I'm going to give it a 4. It's not that
It's-
scary. It's just creepy.
Yeah, it's disturbing, it's unnerving, but it's not like shit your pants.
Yeah, I'm not worried about having nightmares.
They're gonna come
I'm-
for you, Gabe.
Yeah.
Come for you in your sleep.
Your neck. God, I'm giving it a 6. I hate these little things. They look so incredibly gross. The scene where they're just wrecking the bar and like one of them gets under the tap and his belly expands. That's the grossest shit I've ever seen on television. I hate it so much.
You know what? I'm gonna be a controversial one. I'm gonna give it a 7.
Wow.
Ah!
But not for the gremlins themselves, for the blatant racism throughout this
Oh.
film. It is so frightening. As a foreigner,
I mean, certainly every racist in this film sort of gets their hat handed to them, you know? Like the old drunk guy gets murdered, Mrs. Scrooge, the original Karen, gets murdered, the police get murdered.
Well, you know
Yeah,
what's messed up? The guy's wife, she didn't deserve that. I mean, she was only on screen for like a minute, but she seemed nice.
She was adorable. Maybe she survived. And the drunkard just died.
Maybe.
okay. But here's my issue with that, with the racists getting their comeuppance at the hands of the gremlins. It's proving their point for them. They're saying, oh, the
Mhm.
foreigners are going to get us. And then the foreigners do get them. And also, you do know if like a Trump supporter is watching this, they'll be like, China.
Yeah, see, we told you. Yeah, very much so. What does the guy say at the end, the Chinese man that comes in? Something along the lines of like, you've done what your society does with everything in nature, misunderstand it, destroy it, y'all aren't ready. Taking my shit back.
Yeah, it was something like that. He said, maybe one day you'll be ready.
Gotta set up for that sequel.
We are not watching Gremlins 2.
There is a Gremlins too. I've never seen it. I can't imagine what the plot is.
You know the way it's sexualized like that one gremlin in this film?
The Flasher Gremlin?
No, the woman.
Oh, the side hoe?
Yeah, that happens to a worse extent.
I don't even want to know. I don't even want to picture it.
So that's it for Gremlins. You can find us on Twitter at GITM Podcast. You can find me at IzzyEXE.
You can find me at Gabuto.
And you can follow me at Atlas Snow.
Okay, bye.